to contact commissioners and say, I'm interested, and here's my resume, and that kind of thing. Politically, boy, who knows? I mean, the rumors have already started, and I heard one yesterday that some commissioners wanting their son appointed to another commission seat. I mean, it's that kind of nonsense. But
well, is there any protocol for saying, okay, we're just going to take it, we're going to go district by district and start with number one first?
The county commission, one of the first things we did when I became law director was adopt a new set of rules for the commission, and we put in there a section that deals with appointments for filling vacancies in county offices. They will call the roll and receive nominations for, say, District 1A. They'll receive nominations throughout the commission. Obviously, you would expect a nomination from someone in that district, and then if there are more than two, you'll have ballots until it's narrowed down to two and someone wins, and they'll proceed with that with each seat.
So they do have a framework in place.
Oh, absolutely.
And Richard, does that include, I guess in this situation it does not include the party politics doesn't come into this. If a Republican is in the seat, anyone can just be submitted.
Exactly. And now I will say that the only time really that I've observed partisanship, as we traditionally think of it, Republican, Democrat, Independent, on the county commission is when there are appointments, and those are historically very partisan.
Right.
And you're looking at one party holding a very large majority on the commission.
I think though that they, in the interest of not having an all-out war, they've sort of agreed that they'll replace a Democrat with a Democrat. In other words, I mean, some of the Republicans are already saying that Mark Kawa's wife would be a good choice for that seat. So. I don't think they're going to try. There's a Republican majority on commission, but I don't think they're going to try to stack it with all Republicans.
I think where you're more likely to see that is when they start appointing replacements for the constitutional officers. There you might see some partisanship creeping in.
Would it be permissible or possible to see some musical chairs, that someone who has been serving in one position being appointed to another, maybe particularly among the constitutional offices, but is it also possible legally to go so fine as to switch someone from seat A to seat B on the commission and meet the tests of the law?
Yeah, on the second one, no. That is clear.
So they cannot serve in the same district even though it would be a different seat?
No, absolutely not.
Could they serve in a different district if they move?
No, because they'd have to meet the charter's one-year residency requirement. And as to the other offices, you could theoretically you could move the register over to clerk and vice versa. I think that's real unlikely that would happen. I wouldn't be surprised to see some officers being hired by whoever gets appointed. Perhaps as their new chief deputy or chief deputy clerk, whatever. But that's I guess it's hard to give up entirely after you've been there all those years, but I can assure everyone there is life after public service.
Yes, indeed.
If the county commissioners decided, I mean, if they just decided, okay, we're going to switch Mike Lowe and Steve Hall and all that, first of all, the public outcry would be tremendous.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know why they would risk their own political careers to do a favor for these fee officers. I mean, I don't understand that.
And on that point, Frank, we're going to be back right after this commercial break.
You're mine. There's no contest when it comes to McDonald's tender, juicy Chicken McNuggets. Right now, get a 4-piece Chicken McNuggets for just $1.
It's the event everyone's been waiting for. Southern Exposure 6 and the Cardboard Sled Classic Derby. Live from over Gatlinburg, Friday, February 2nd. This is your chance to be the best and beat the rest. All you need is a clever design, a competitive attitude, and nerves of steel. If you'd like to be a part of this year's Cardboard Sled Classic Derby, contact Helen Ross McNabb at 541-6684. The race will be featured on Live at 5, Southern Exposure Roadshow. Live from over Gatlinburg, Friday.
Hey folks, Lance Cunningham. Check out this lineup of factory vehicles that just arrived that save you thousands of dollars. Tauruses, we've got them from $99.90. SEs and SELs, leather, roofs. Check out the Freestars. Yes, we've got them with leather. Entertainment systems from $12,990. And Explorers, third row seatings. They're 4x4s with sunroofs. We've got them from $16,990. You want to check out the whole lineup? LC4.com 24/7.
And we're back here live on this special edition of Inside Tennessee, hour-long edition. We're talking about the Knox County Charter decision. Nice to have Chris Haggerty, the Secretary of Election Commission, with us, as well as Richard Beeler, former county law director, been filling us in today. I want to talk about money, too, because that's something we haven't discussed this morning. It costs, what, $30,000 to run for a county commission seat? Is that typical? Or?
Well, that's on the high end of some. Depends on which seat you're running for, but 30, 20, something like that. And
these folks, many of them just finished up running again. So that's a lot of money out the door.
Well, yeah, it is.
And for them and their contributors.
Well, you have to realize that they went into this knowing this was a distinct possibility. Mm-hmm. And, that things like that can happen. You have to think ahead.
That's a really good point. I've listened for 2 days now about everybody's shock and dismay. When term limits amendment was adopted in '94, the law department told folks that we think this is valid, but it won't take effect until, really the first election where it would be effective was last year's election. Mm-hmm. So, it was just the natural order of how it was going to come up. A lot of people forgot it, and a lot of people relied on, that Attorney General's opinion that said it wouldn't apply. So that's, but people were told, they were warned that it was going
to. Well, we had some county commissioners who said, I'm term limited and don't vote for me.
Mary Lou Horner.
John Schmidt, Mary Lou Horner,
Wanda
Moody. And, of course, some of them got elected and some of them didn't. Mm-hmm. They clearly knew.
Oh, yeah.
And you're the man to explain this, but for our viewers who don't really understand how this passed in '94, and then we're talking about it, why didn't it just go into? Can you give us a brief summation of that? Briefly,
it was adopted in '94, but by its own terms, it didn't take effect till January 1st of '95, and it had only applied prospectively. So January '95 was right in the middle of a commission term. Mm-hmm. So the first election at which you started counting county commission terms was '98, I guess. And '98. And so that was the first term that would be counted under the Term Limits Amendment. Mm-hmm. So the second term was the election in 2002. Mm-hmm. And so that was the second full term for those who would be affected by it.
I'm curious about this possibility of a special election. I think the ruling does call on the county commission to name the replacements, but can they, through resolution, delegate that in effect to a special election process?
No, I really don't think they can. The statute that provides for these being filled by the county legislative body is very clear. It's a general state law, applies throughout the state, and I don't think that. Plus, think of it this way: these folks will only be serving, I think, until next February anyway, because that's the earliest. Presidential preference primary would be the earliest.
They'd serve through February primary.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, they would
be a primary. They'd serve on the laws.
That's right.
Well, the legislature, in its wisdom, they wrote the law because they didn't want every time there was a commissioner resigned or passed away that you have to have a special election.
Exactly.
I don't think they foresaw this drastic a turnover, but still that's what the law is.
That's right.
But we do have some commissioners who are now talking about mounting such a resolution, so I guess we'll have to go through that debate.
I'm sorry, Richard.
No, go ahead.
Well, there are at least 2 or 3 that have said we want a special election, but you have to follow the procedures that are mandated by the court and by the Constitution, for that matter. And just because they want a special election doesn't mean that they're going to receive one.
What would a
these people who
special
want
election cost? Just out of curiosity.
Greg McKay and I.
A couple $100,000.
Over that, probably about $275,000.
Some of these people who are wanting an election, they should be reminded that
Talked about no appeals, but isn't there the possibility of an appeal to federal